Hey, you made it. You're here tonight. Woo! Man, I'm so pumped and I'm so excited that you've chosen to be here. And I also just realized I'm going to be watching this video a little bit later and I'm going to be like, what in the world were you thinking? Like, weirdest opening to a video ever. But I really am thankful and I'm excited that you've chosen to be in community intentionally tonight. This last weekend, we continued week 2 of a series entitled The Blessed Life. And the big idea from our message this weekend was that the key to living a blessed life is a heart of generosity. That the key to living a blessed life is a heart of generosity. And so we used a conversation that took place between Paul and Timothy that is found in 1 Timothy chapter 6. Timothy is leading a church, and Paul's writing to Timothy and kind of talking to him about how to talk to his congregation about this idea of generosity and finances. And so he starts out in verse 17 and says, "Command those who are rich in this present world." And we paused yesterday, and I want to pause again today because I think it's important that we have a understanding of what it means to be rich. My guess this morning, actually, I'm videoing it this morning. I know you're watching it at night, but my guess is that for those of us who are watching it, none of us would instantly raise our hands and be like, oh, yeah, that's me. Like, I am rich. I am loaded. Like, I have more money than I know what to do with. Like, I walk around and just give people hundreds because I don't know what else to do. Like, right? Like, that's not any of us. And there's a reason for that. Interestingly, to be in the top 1% of annual incomes in America, you would need to earn $421,926. Just out of curiosity, I looked at what the average income in both Otsego and in Albertville was. In Otsego was a little higher, 99,037. Albertville a little bit lower, 87,974. Well below the almost $422,000 that it would take to be in the top 1% here in the United States. But when you expand that reach, to be in the top 1% globally means that you only need an annual income of $32,400. To be in the top 1% of annual income in this world is $32,400. That means that by and large, for most, if not all of us, in comparison with where we are at in this world, that you and I are rich. That you and I are rich. And so when Paul is writing to Timothy, he really is speaking specifically to you and to me. Command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain. I think that it is incredibly important that we catch how blessed we truly are. And I would believe that you work hard for the money that you get. I would believe that you work incredibly hard, that there are skills that you have, but what I don't believe is that somehow we work harder than 99% of anyone else in this world. I think that we are incredibly blessed. I think that we are called to be thankful for what God has given us. That none of us deserve what we have, but that it comes from a provider, from a source of life. And so we shouldn't be arrogant about what we have been given, and we shouldn't put our hope in wealth. But oftentimes that's an easy place for us to fall because wealth promises us the illusion of security. It promises us the allure of freedom or of significance, that if we only had a ton of resources, that then we would have everything that we need. Then we would truly have freedom. Then we would truly have significance. But reality is that God is the only one that can truly provide us with security, with freedom, and with significance. And it's exactly what Paul tells Timothy to convey to his church. Don't be arrogant. Don't put your hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but put your hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. And then we talked yesterday that Paul gives a list of what we are called to do. He says, command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. To be generous and willing to share. See, if we are followers of Christ, you and I have been given a tremendous opportunity, and we have been entrusted with much. Because reality is, maybe it doesn't feel like you and I are rich, but Paul is talking specifically to us. And so we have a tremendous opportunity to do something with the resources that we have been entrusted with. And so if we are going to have a blessed life, the key is having a heart of generosity. And so I ended yesterday by just simply asking the question, do you give God your best, or do you give him your last? Do you give him your best, or do you give him your last? I don't think that we need to feel any shame. I don't think that we need to feel any kind of guilt about the tremendous opportunity and blessing that we have been given with the finances that you and I earn. But I do think we need to be cautious. I do think we need to be careful about how we choose to use those resources. As followers of Christ, I believe that everything that we have been given has been given to us by God. And that when he entrusts us, that we are called to look for opportunities to do good with what he has given. It's never ours to begin with. And so do we give him out of the best of what we have, or do we give him out of what we have left? That you and I have a responsibility. That you and I have a calling. I really believe that generosity is a heart issue. That God can accomplish whatever he wants. He's God. He doesn't need your money or needs your resources, but he does need everything that you are. And he does need your heart. And he understands and knows that this is one of the most challenging things, because money provides us with the tangible. We can see it. We can experience what it provides us. And God, it's a little bit more difficult and challenging. There's not as much of the tangible. And so the question becomes, are we willing to give him everything? Especially in this area of finance. Do we give him out of our best, or do we give him out of our last? God wants your heart. He wants you to give him everything. And so I ended yesterday's sermon by just rereading through this passage, and I want to do it again tonight. Command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. Command them to do good, to be good, rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. And my hope is that you guys have some wonderful conversation around this idea of generosity and being faithful with the opportunity that God has given us to impact the world around us. Thank you so much for intentionally engaging in community, and we're better together.